100% financing, part 2. All right, 100% financing is a unicorn, and every real estate investor is looking for it. And yes, it does exist. It actually exists in multiple ways. This one is actually, owner financing. Typically a bank will loan 80% of an investment property. That's considered the norm. And all banks are different, and all areas are different. That being said, you may find a bank that will only lend 70%. You may find a bank that will loan 95%. All depends on what their lending criteria is. And there's a lot of things that will come into play, like the terms of the deal, your relationship, your credit score. Yes, your credit score does matter. I don't care what anybody says, it does. And even the loan amount. You would think that would be, typical, too much money or whatever. I've actually had a loan turned down because it wasn't enough money. Odd, I know, you would think lower amount, less risk. No, they couldn't make enough money off the points. Anyway, as a general rule of thumb, like I said, 80%. You still need 20% financing to make up 100% of the financial to finance the deal. Now, where do you get that other 20%? You ask. Well, you get it from the seller. The seller holds a note, 20%, also known as paper, and you pay a first mortgage of 80%, second mortgage of 20% to the seller, and that makes your 100%. Now, granted, if you're not putting money down on your property, you're going to pay more on the back end, obviously, but you're going to limit your tax liability over time. Now, you're going to be paying interest on that 80% to the bank plus 20% to the seller, and of course, you need to have an accountant, and you need to get one before you start investing in real estate. They are invaluable. Do not go to H&R Block. People go there, they're like, oh, well, H&R Block only charges me $100 or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't use them. But I mean, my accountant has been an accountant for 20 some years. The person who would do my taxes at H&R Block probably took a 6-week course on how to find the best tax deduction. I would rather somebody actually know what they're doing. All right, getting off subject again. All right, now look at the lending criteria to the bank. This is called your CRA policy, or Community Reinvestment Act policy. This is set up by the government to stop banks from redlining certain areas, refusing to make loans in undesirable locations. Not that you really want to invest in an undesirable location. Location. Trust me, that's what you want to do. You want the best location for the least amount of money. That's how you're going to turn a profit. Anyway, as I said, the banks are different, which means two banks right next to each other will have completely different lending criteria. Your terms on the deal will affect your loan as well. When it comes to the structure of the deal, the sky is the limit. You can have inspection contingencies, financing contingencies, pest, radon, depending on your area. You can add groundwater testing. These are all normal, but you can add anything you want. I once put an offer in on a 28-acre farm. And in, one of the clauses was that, Fred the horse was to be included with this house. If you can put in anything you want, I just wanted the horse. Anyway, I didn't end up buying the house or the farm, so I didn't end up actually get Fred the horse either. So, anyway, you need a good relationship with the bank. And you need a good one, of course. I'm not saying, you should go buy them a dozen donuts and say, hey, give me a loan, I'll give you this Krispy Kreme. But at the same time, you need to build a rapport with them. People like to work with people they like. If you come in and you're just Billy Badass and, you don't give a damn about, what the bank wants, because banks love paperwork. If you don't come in with any paperwork, you're going to get turned down. Now you need, obviously, you should get your ducks in a row. You know, uh, you're going to need a purchase contract. You're going to need uh 2 months minimum pay stubs. You need the contract for the purchase. You need a copy of the lease or a list of what leases are rented and what the repairs will be. What the rents are coming in. What the expenses are going to be. If there are any, like if you have to pay for any of the utilities. You know, but I mean, bankers love paperwork. I don't know why. Me, not so much. I'm not a big paperwork guy. As a matter of fact, I try to give them too much information, and this limits the calls for the additional paperwork at a later date because they're going to want something. You're never going to give them everything they want right up front. Now, you should know what your credit score is. I'm not saying that you need to take a copy in because they're going to pull your credit. I promise you that bank is going to pull your credit to make sure you pay your bills. I have never, ever had a single bank ever not pull my credit. Now, granted, all these gurus that say, you can buy a home without credit, they're not lying. It can be done. It just can't be done with a bank. A bank wants to make sure they're covered. They're in the business of making loans to people that can pay. So if you have poor credit or even fair credit and you're hard pressed to get a loan for an investment property, if you can't make your car payment or your credit card payments, do you actually think the bank's going to think you're going to pay for your investment? Even if it has positive cash flow, and loan amount can hinder it. If you want to buy a property and you want to borrow $100,000 on a $50,000 home or a $400,000 loan on a $100,000 home, they're not going to make it. Now, if you want to borrow $500,000 to rehab a home worth $200,000, after rehab, you're never getting that loan. So if a home after rehab is worth $200,000, the bank's only going to loan you $160,000 for the purchase and the rehab combined. So your purchase price and estimated rehab cost cannot exceed this hard line. You want to be as far below this line as possible because, you're going to go over budget. It is a fact. It has never, ever had a single family home not go over budget, and I suspect you won't either. So, hey, this is Joe, your real estate redneck. Find us on realestateredneck.com and look out for part 3 of 100% financing.